Okay, welcome everyone to the Pro Trade Room Plus and the Wasde Report. My name is Lee Goldstein, the Trading Director for 10-Minute Trades. Please remember, all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. I'm not a financial advisor. It is money trading futures. Okay, and I want to say hello to everyone that's on YouTube. We are streaming this today. So first things first, let's just talk about the correct instrument to trade on this report. Grains can be a little bit tricky. Two things that you want to do. Number one, with grains, we want to put our trading hours, right click the chart, click data series. Trading hours is default 24/7. That way it calculates our pivots and our VWAP correct for the grain open and close. Default 24/7. Apply OK. Same thing on ZC, corn. Now, the question is, are we on 5 or are we on 7? All right. Now, with grains, but before I forget, right click data series, default 24/7 on trading hours. And that's just so our pivots, highs of day, lows of day, calculate accordingly. Um, you could see that grains have volatility, just like the regular markets have volatility. 50 ticks, particularly soy, is up on a 15-minute chart. You could see that there was some sort of announcement a little while ago that China was buying soy from Brazil. And I think that has caused the price to spike in soybean futures. I'm not positive, but I think that's why the price spiked there. Okay. The WASDE report we're going to trade. We have a setup for soybeans and corn. I was talking about let's find out which is the correct instrument. Um, with grains, very often there are multiple instruments with significant volume, but there's always, almost always one that has much higher volume. So we're going to take a look. If you use the Ninja Trader standard methodology, if you know the prefix, type it, ZS, go down to the future, double click it. It assumes that 5 is the correct contract because that's what puts you on the chart. But I always go to New Market Analyzer, and I like to personally look at the volume. So I'm going to look at ZS 525, and I'm going to look at ZS 725. I should have it on the chart. And wow, are they close, which I'm sorry to see. It's mixed volume, and that means half of our volume is split between two contracts, which could create lousier fills than we would normally get. So I'm sorry to see that. But I will be trading 5 and not 7. It's still a little bit higher volume. And then my guess will be that corn is the same. We're going to go to, I meant to put it on that same chart and I forgot, sorry. Market Analyzer. We're going to look at the volume on corn. Wow, corn has much higher volume than soy. And we're going to look at the 7 contract on corn also. And it is the same situation where it's almost mixed volume. There is a lot of volume on grains, a lot of volume. It's way higher than it used to be a year ago, that's for sure. it's enough volume to trade on both instruments, but I prefer when it's not mixed volume. Now, let's first set up our corn trade. The corn trade will be a trap trade. Now, what we don't know, and the risk in corn, is the quarterly grain reports. Corn has been moving much more dramatically than it's moving for Wasde. It hasn't been moving for Wasde. And almost every Wasde has had a very small, viable trap trade for corn. And that's what we're going to do on corn. So let me show you the setup we're going to use. Now, a couple of other things before we start. If you have a Bullinox account or a Lilu account, well, I can only say Bullinox for sure. Bullinox will not let us trade corn. They wouldn't let us trade it on WASD. Hang on, I'm sorry. I just heard that someone was talking. I want to see who it is. I don't know yet. All right. Um, with Bullinox, you can't trade corn. If you try to put an order on the chart, product not permissioned. Why? I don't know. They never sent a note about it. They never said a word about it. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. It makes me so angry. I could see blank. It makes me so enraged. I can't even begin to discuss it. It's absurd. Bullinox doesn't let you trade corn, just like you can't trade bonds. It's an absurdity of ridiculousness. Um, I believe Apex will let us trade it. So let us see. So I'll put my chart on Apex and I'll try to place an order. And Apex lets me trade corn. So I will trade my trap trade in my Apex account. Normally on this report, I would recommend setting up a reversal continuation. So on soybeans, we will be doing that because WASD does reverse often, often, often. The issue with corn has been the moves have been small on WASD for well more than a year. The only thing that concerns me is that the quarterly grain reports have been moving much more with corn, and it worries me that all of a sudden maybe WASD could push corn into stopping out our trap trade. But that's the risk. Still trading it, and I'm not really making it very much. I'm not making it bigger because it hasn't been moving hardly at all. So it could cost us. Just remember that's the risk. That is the risk. So on our trap trade, right click the chart, click on strategies, click on trap trade. Position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1. Today's probably not the day to be a hero and trade extra contracts. I'm just trading 2. And we're going to put the order on at 11:59:55. The stop, I'm going to go with 20. And my tiers are 8. I'm going to go 8 and 20, folks. I'd rather not get a fill, even though that's not all that much of a difference. Um, just because the markets are what they are. The 8 is small, so if we have a very small move, we'll still get filled. If it's not big at all, then maybe our second tier won't get filled. That's not the end of the world. And I'll label it ZC Trap. And I'm going to trade it in my Apex account. Okay? ZC Trap Apex. Now you can, by putting the time on 0, you can simulate where your brackets are going to be if the trade took place now. If your orders show up all spread apart like that, shrink your chart. That's a proper trap trade. Okay, where you could see your stop, your two orders above and below the price. What is a trap trade? A trap trade is a report that we expect it to reverse. So we are putting our orders above and below the price. If the price moves up and fills us, we're selling. If the price goes down and fills us, we're buying. That's how a trap trade works. All right. And then on our breakout, and you could see that the corn breakout has not been very effective. All right. It's had two winners, but the January winner was also quarterly grains. It trades together with Wasde in January. So that is a quarterly grain winner as much as it is a Wasde winner. Okay? So January is getting a push from quarterly grains. Soybeans are breakout, which is what I'm going to trade. 11:59.58 is our trigger time. Bracket is 12. Our targets anywhere between 8. It's been very inconsistent, this report, over the past 6 months if you look at the moves. January had that kick from quarterly grains, but February was small. March was a cancel. There was no move. Um, November was 59 ticks. December was a stop. 26 ticks in October. There's been a little bit of inconsistency on the targets. All right. So anywhere between 9 and 25 is what I would do today on the report. Okay. That's what I would do. The stop is 20. And if it hits the first target, I would definitely do a break even -3 or 4 or 2. Definitely want to move the target, the stop if my first target gets hit because of the propensity for this report to reverse. Labeling it breakout ZS. Gonna trade it. First, before I put the account, I'm gonna set the time to 0 to check the brackets. We definitely have more volatility than normal in soybeans today. Definitely soybean news before this report is affecting the soybean behavior. I'm positive. I still think our bracket is okay. It's plenty big. All right. Turning off the soybean breakout trade for a moment. Putting the time back on. Time back on. 11:59:58 on the trigger, right? 11:59:58 on the trigger. Bracket of 12. Targets anywhere between 8 and 25 is what I would recommend. 8 and 30 at the most. Stop is 20, and then break even minus 3 if target 1 is hit. And I'll trade it in a Bullinox account that's making money. It's labeled breakout ZS. Apply it. Okay it. Put the chart on. Okay. And I'm going to set up a second setup on soybeans, reverse continuation, that I will look to trade right after. Hold on. Let me turn off my trap. I forgot to put the let me put the time back to where it's supposed to be. 11:59:55. 11:59:55 on the time on the trap. You don't want the orders sitting on the chart 15 minutes before the trade. All right, that's what I was doing. Um, I lost track of what I was saying. The breakout, reverse continuation on the soybean chart. Right click the chart. I do expect, like almost all the WASDs, that this report will change direction at some point, especially if there's a good move, especially if there's a real nice pop and we make some money, then take the opposite direction after you get your fills. So I'll look for, it's $12.50 a tick, just like the S&P. One position, I'll just look for like a 15 tick target on my profit. Usually it's the kind of speed you'll have an opportunity to trail if it's a good move. And the stop, I'll put in a 20 for now. That would be a stop I would look to shrink. So just one position on the reverse continuation, 15 target. You could use a 20 target if you want, 20 stop. These reverse continuation trades are not so much what the exact numbers are, as much more important to have a setup that you can trade if there is a move that trends or that you know you're hitting a resistance or support level with a pivot or a magnet. That's the point of these reversal continuations, right? That's why we do them. And we're giving a webinar today about reversal continuations and how to set them up. And magnets, because a magnet trade really can be looked at as a reversal continuation in many ways. It's a little bit more structured. And in fact, a magnet is more a continuation trade, really. It's a continuation into a level. Now, I wasn't watching gold, but I just heard in my headset that gold made an all-time high just a few minutes ago, over 3,100. Now, I'm not going to keep this chart active for this trade, but it had a gold is my favorite magnet. It's been making highs all day. So, I mean, it's up $100. Yes, gold's up $100. If you think this market is safe and that the problems are over, it's beyond comprehension that these problems were created It's beyond comprehension. These problems were created on purpose. That's all I'll say about that. Beyond comprehension. All right, gold magnet long ago on the day, long ago. The gold magnet that you wanted to trade was 10 o'clock this morning. Pretty amazing. And what a magnet that was. All right, that was a great one. Reverse continuation. Let's take a look at Wasde a year ago. March. Oh, you know what? I want to get a year ago. I pulled up March by accident. Let me get April from a year ago on Wasde. Okay, here's Wasde a year ago. Okay, a year ago. Soybeans on the left on the breakout. And I do think our bracket was quite a bit bigger. Corn, not really a giant move. The chart is spread pretty far apart. The chart is spread far. Keep that in mind. Now, WASD, it did struggle to hit that first target. It was just a small profit, more than $100, but not a huge profit. And then corn, looking at corn from a year ago, we were just watching it, not trading the breakout. All right. And right when it got to S1 was a good change in direction. You could see it did start to change direction there. That was a year ago. All right. These are not the same markets, but it's always fun to look at what happened a year ago. Looking at January when it did trade with quarterly grains, so it did get a kick. It got an extra kick in January. Hits the first target, hit the second target. Corn also had a nice breakout on the quarterly grains. Very strong upward pressure. So I did not take an immediate reversal. I'd be thinking reversal somewhere in here. Did we take it? When minute that candle went red was when I might have thought about the reversal. You didn't get any help from the squeeze though. That's all I have recorded. There was no signal for a short, so we'll keep an eye on the squeeze after the news. Let's look at November, Wasde. We've definitely seen smaller moves out of Wasde as of late in general. Nice move in November, though. Very, very nice move in November. And we were trying a corn trap, pretty small, and it didn't really do anything. Didn't move at all. Now remember, if you don't move at all, you don't really have a good reversal. So you're not going to want to jump into a reversal when you don't even have a fill of tier 1 on your trap. Now soybeans started their reversal. Did it continue or did it just push up? Got to record longer. We were there for more than 7 minutes. Not a big reversal for 7 minutes. When you get a giant burst, you have to be careful on reversals. The beauty of the reversal is it's a decision. It's not automatic. So you're not automatically being pulled in when you don't necessarily want to be. That's the nice thing about reversal continuations. They're optional, discretionary trades. Now, after this, we will be back at 12:30 for the 30-year bond. Yeah, 30-year bond at 12:30. So Apex, trap trade on the right, breakout on the left, Bullinox, and we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching on YouTube. If you want to hit that like button and the notification bell, you'll know the next time we're streaming. And now we just only have 2.5 minutes to go before the news. One of the things about WASD is it is being covered on Financial Juice right now. So we will make note, definitely make note of how it behaves in relation to what they report on the news. It generally is kind of a tricky report to look at specific news points and know for sure what the report's going to do because it's a complicated long report. All right, we've only got a minute and 15 seconds. Soybeans quite bullish today, and corn is bullish today also. All right, 30 seconds. Watching. 5 seconds before the news, our orders will show up on Apex. 2 seconds before, our orders will show up on Bullinox. Okay, there's our corn orders. There's our soybean orders. Not a very good reaction to the report. Okay, corn trap. I'm watching carefully. I think I'm going to combine both my orders on soybeans. Okay, I probably rushed to the forefront on that. Had a nice $225 trade. Corn, I'm waiting to get our reversal. I'm turning off my breakout on soybeans. I made 2.25. It was very stress-free, actually. I just didn't like the fact that it had such a lousy move. What I'm waiting for on corn is the change in direction, move into profit so I could cancel my outer tier and get my stop into safety. There's no reason to do anything yet unless that happens. Now, there's no reason to take a full stop either, probably. So it filled the second tier now. I would bring my first target, my first hit, up a little bit, and I'll bring my second position up a little bit. And now I would like to see a change in direction on corn. That's what I'd like to see. It's very rare to get a move that continues only in one direction. It's a rarity. And you could see we didn't get it in soybeans. Soybeans had a nice reversal off the high. Corn's making a new high at the moment, so we should get a reversal off the corn high. Enough to hit our first target, at least. That's what I would think. That's what we'd like to see. Okay, this could be the beginning of our reversal. We'll see. Remember, we didn't have gigantic tiers with corn. We had an 8. We had an 8. And what was our second tier? 15? Wasn't very big. 16. Okay, we hit our first target. Now you don't have to cancel anything. Just move your stop to safety. And you might want to bring that second target up a little bit. It's a little bit far. Now I'll trail every time I'll leave my target kind of far away. Anytime we get further downward movement, I'll trail my stop. Otherwise, I'm just going to leave it where it is to get some profit on the second position. If it continues up, it'll take me out with a winning trade. All right. No matter what, I cannot lose. I'm in profit. My first target was hit. We're just not getting a lot of downward motion yet. Soybeans fully reversed the move. If corn would fully reverse the move, we'd be very pleased. We're not getting help from the squeeze at all. I'm not moving anything, but I'm also not willing to give up all my profit. Could be a mistake. You never know. So just a small apex profit on the trap. Let's watch. Corn is definitely stronger, was stronger than soy. We did not get a significant reversal, but two pretty stress-free trades. You never know what's going to happen when the markets are so wild. But both of these trades were winners. So, you're not going to retire on them, but they were decent. The trap, if corn keeps going up, then you have no regrets. If it makes a big reversal, then of course you're sorry, but the squeeze is still pushing up. There's still pressure to the upside on corn. Very nice. I would think that anyone that traded using our settings should have made money on both. I'm going to watch corn for another couple of minutes. Let's see what it does. And when you think about it, we traded soybeans perfectly. We got out really close to the top of the profit. And corn, it looks like we did the right thing by being medium aggressive on the stop. Not crazy, but medium, so that we got a few dollars. I would have liked to made 100 on the trade, which you would have had to have moved your stop all the way down to the bottom of the reversal. I mean your target. You would have had to move your target there. And that chokes out the trade if there's a great move. Now remember, if you're quick and nimble, you could put a reversal continuation on corn. It's still possible it could reverse. It's just reversing slowly, but there still is a fair amount of upward pressure on corn. So I'm just going to keep my profits where they are. Watch it for another minute or two. And then we'll come back at 12:30 for the 30-year bond. All right. So I do want to thank everybody on YouTube. I'm going to close out our YouTube stream. Thank you all for joining us on YouTube, and we will see you tomorrow for PPI. I believe we're streaming PPI at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. So join us for that. That should be exciting. So everyone on YouTube, hit that like button before you leave and hit the notification bell so you know the next time we're streaming.